Okay, so number 21, we got DMX. I definitely like him being on this list. Absolutely no question. He got a lot of songs that got me through a lot of shit, to be honest. Man, this dude, to drop two number one albums in the same fucking year in 1998, I mean, shit, work ethic, his high, he was in movies, everything. Like, it ain't no question about DMX's run. I mean, shit, you could even argue, like, the late 90s, you could argue that he was the hottest in the game. He was definitely one of the hottest, if not the hottest in the game. So no question about DMX on here. Number 20, Big Daddy Kane. Now, this is definitely somebody that I think has for sure argument to be in the top 20. I mean, he got classics. Amazing rapper. Definitely a pioneer for sure, too. And somebody smooth, kind of similar to like Rakim. Definitely like undenied. So there's no question about Big Daddy Kane being on here and what he was doing in the 90s. Number 19, Missy Elliott. Dog, I ain't gonna lie, I feel like Missy Elliott probably has an argument for like the GOAT of like women's rap. It would probably be Nicki Minaj, but Missy Elliott definitely has a stake in that. I mean, man, what Missy's done, we talking about visionary, music videos, music, songwriting, rapping, singing. It ain't nothing that she can't do. She got the body of work. Like, man, listen, Missy Elliott, I mean, she started off in an R&B group. So for her to do what she did in hip hop, and her and Timbaland and the sounds, you know what I'm saying, that they had, and extremely unique. She kind of is very similar to like a Busta Rhymes, but she's very unique. Man, Missy Elliott, she needs to get more of her flowers while she's here, because who she is, what she's able to do musically, man, honestly, that shit is unmatched, if you ask me. Number 18, we got Ice Cube. I'm not mad at this. I'm not mad at Ice Cube being in the top 20. I feel like his raps is definitely underrated because he, you know, did his thing as an actor. But, I mean, NWA, no question. And he was the pen, you know what I'm saying, the major pen behind that. And then solo albums. He definitely is somebody that's a legend in rap. And, you know, he put his work in, and he deserves more credit for being as big as he was solo after NWA. So shout out Ice Cube. Number 17, 50 Cent. I would argue 50 Cent is too high. I wouldn't say he don't deserve to be on this list, because he definitely does. But I think 17 might be too high. His impact on a culture, though, is his impact is definitely top 20. But I don't think I would say top 20 rapper. But, I mean, shit, Get Rich or Die Trying, you know, already know that's the next level classic right there. I mean, I remember being a kid back then and hearing, like, Wanksta and Window Shopper, 21 Questions on the radio, like, all the time. And I was just like, man, it was just, every time I hear that, it's just like that album was different. Massacre the album was really fucking dope too. 50 and G Unit, of course. Like, 50 definitely had a great run in hip hop, and Kanye kind of changed that last era of like the gangster rappers, and it kind of evolved into something else. But 50 definitely put his stamp on it in the 2000s, and, you know, made his name known. So I ain't got no problem with him being on this list. I just feel like top 20 as a rapper, I think it's too high. Top 20 as an influence, probably might be accurate. Number 16, Scarface. Shit, he could even have an argument for being top 10. Scarface, man, that dude is a fucking legend. Classics, Ghetto Boys. An album for me that really resonates from being a kid, which might be one of the first albums I ever heard, was The Untouchable. That album right there, I need to get a vinyl of that motherfucker. But, man, that album really like shaped a lot of me growing up. And, you know what I'm saying, The Fix, Mind Playing Tricks on Me, you know what I'm saying, like The Diary, that album is fucking incredible as well. I mean, man, Scarface definitely deserves his flowers. It seems like he's getting them now. You know, he did his Tiny Desk concert, so I hope he continues to get it. I mean, we almost lost him, you know, during COVID. So shout out to Scarface, man. That dude lyrically is fucking nice, you know what I'm saying, and he's been doing his shit, you know what I'm saying, since he came out. So shout out Scarface. Number 15, J. Cole. Might be too high, but as far as personal favorites, J. Cole is one of my favorite rappers ever. And I remember, it's funny, I'm getting a little bit into this. So I remember, like, when he first was, like, when I first heard about him, I heard about it like on YouTube. There was a song called Playground. And I was like, man, this dude's nice. And I remember hearing like the Come Up mixtape, and I was like, man, this dude is nice. I hope he, you know, starts blowing up. And I feel like I kind of grew with him. Like he was growing as an artist and or as a rapper, and it's crazy to me to see like the heights that he's gone to. And honestly, I feel like he kind of had like a KD type career because when he first started blowing up around like 2011, I feel like everybody loved J. Cole. It's kind of exactly how it was with like KD, where everybody loved KD when he was like the first years in OKC. And then all of a sudden, everybody started hating J. Cole. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, everybody said he was corny. And rap definitely changed, so I think that was part of it. But I'm glad that Cole kind of got away from the, I'm going to just shy away from everybody and do my own thing. He kind of just embraced, who he was and where he could fit in the culture. And I feel like it kind of gave him a resurgence. So, Cole Band, I mean, look, Friday Night Lights mixtape, I think that's his best project. But I do think Born Sinner is his best album, an undeniable classic. That album is fucking amazing. And Forest Hills Drive is also a classic. Another amazing album. I mean, he's been very consistent. So, shout out Cole, man. I mean, Too Deep for the intro. Back to the Topic. I mean, it's so many songs that I got. It's a gun to your head. You got to rap them words word for word. I could do that. I mean, I definitely appreciate what Cole's done for rap. So, shout out Cole. Number 14, we got LL Cool J. Definitely deserved. I feel like very, very underrated. And I'll be telling people this shit too. I'm like, bro, LL Cool J is definitely underrated in rap. It's because he was probably like one of the first to make like records for the ladies, and I feel like because rap was a whole like about being braggadocious and it's like hyper. I don't want to say hyper masculine, but just more so on just like the, I'm a man and this that I get bitches and I fuck bitches or whatever. I feel like he didn't really get his respect, and it's crazy seeing like how the evolution of like Ja Rule in the 2000s. Where he started off like rapper and he kind of went more into like the mainstream songs that, everybody liked. And then Drake, basically being a byproduct of that, where he can make, it's different because Drake's actually an artist, not necessarily only a rapper, but he kind of benefited from what LL Cool J did, and he was doing that shit in the 90s. He was rapping in the 80s too, but that's somebody that's definitely a pioneer, and he still can rap his ass off like now. I'm hearing him, doing his performances and shit. I'm like, bro, like for him to still be rapping like that, still be out here doing his shit. I'm like, man, he needs to get his flowers for sure. Definitely a legend, and I think definitely underrated. Number 13, Rakim. There's somebody else that could arguably in the top 10, probably close to the top 5. I mean, Eric B and Rakim, legends, legendary group. Rakim, Paid in Full. I mean, man, he got so many songs that's like, it's very impressive, and you can see him like birthing what Nas became. Like Nas took what Rakim did and just made it like some other shit, but Rakim was already doing it and wasn't cursing in his raps. Like he was very unique, different kind of flow, and definitely somebody who, set a lot of trends. So Rakim needs to get his flowers. I feel like he does, but he should definitely get a lot more as time goes on and people, give him not just the older generation who's like alive, but the little bit later generations where people who rap in a similar kind of cadence or flow in a similar cadence. It's because of Rakim. So shout out to him. Number 12, Andre 3000. No question about him being on here. I don't want to say he's too high, but also he might be too high. He should be over like J. Cole though, but also because like he's done enough with Outkast. And they got classics to where you can't say he shouldn't be in like the top 20 or top 15. Same time though, I would say the solo problem is, I think, the only downfall. He just, he's missing the soul. We need to hear something solo from him for it to put it over the top. Other than that, aside from all that, his lyricism is fucking next to none. You can hear Kendrick, especially when he does his other voices and all that. You can hear Kendrick's inspiration, and you can hear, where he got a lot of that from. So like 3 Stacks, his lyricism, his verses, his ability, he can knock that out the park. So he doesn't have, honestly, you know what? All right, I'm gonna take all that shit back. He deserves to be where he is because he's put in more than enough. And I would argue Big Boy could be on this list if they got Gucci Mane on here. I would argue Big Boy should be on here instead of him or a couple other people. But shout out 3 Stacks. Number 11, Kanye West. This is way too fucking low. Kanye should be closer to the top 5. Easily should be closer to the top 5. Now maybe it was his whole, controversies and shit. That's probably what dropped him. But just outside the top 10, hell no. Because Kanye's influence in rap, you can't even deny. Like he done influenced like 3 different levels of other kind of careers, like Future, Young Thug. Like it's, you know what I'm saying, like the whole 808s in its own right, Kid Cudi, 808s in its own right birthed like a whole other era of music, and people were, legends and seen as like, very influential in that right. And that's, from Kanye. It's from T-Pain as well, but Kanye it got accepted when Kanye did it for real. Way too low. He got a gang of classic albums. When I was younger, I would say Graduation was my favorite album by him, but I'm at a point where My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, I'm like, that put it over the top. Different level. It got bars, production, all that. I mean, man, I don't think Kanye will ever be able to make that kind of music anymore, but he's put his work in tenfold. And he even evolved past just being a rapper, past just being an artist, and just becoming like an icon. So, way too low. Kanye is way too low to just be number 11. Number 10, Nicki Minaj. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like that's too high. Not over Kanye. She shouldn't be over Kanye, considering that she was losing rap album of the year to Kanye. But, as far as, like I said, GOAT of women rap, definitely would probably be her. She put her time in, and she definitely trailblazed a lot. And I remember, like, when she was first blowing up and listening to Young Money, like, in like, freshman year. And, well, actually, the We Are Young Money was, like, middle school, but freshman year, and I was, like, a big Young Money fan, and Wayne, Drake, and Nicki was the big 3. So, she, Pink Friday, all that. And she got, her legendary verses and albums and all that. So you can't even deny, like, what Nicki's been able to do. Kind of sucks because I feel like she didn't really age how a true GOAT should age. A lot of problematic stuff, but on the positive side, like, she definitely put her work in, and she definitely is somebody that's undeniable in rap, and somebody that they don't even look at her as just a woman rapper. They just look at her as more of a contemporary, which is really hard to do. That's a whole other issue. But aside from all that, she definitely put her work in to be on this list. I don't know if I would say top 10, or maybe, I don't think I would say top 10, but definitely deserves to be on here. Okay, so at number 9, we got Snoop Dogg. I'm not mad at Snoop being on here. I don't think Snoop should be in the top 10, though. He probably is, like, number 1 for, like, the most famous rapper, but as far as, like, the 50 greatest, I don't think he should be in the top 10. He might be closer to, like, 15 or 20 maybe, but maybe, like, 15, but I don't think 10. Number 8, they got Drake. I get why he's here. I'm not about to debate that he shouldn't be this high, because to be honest, like, somebody that listened to him pretty heavy, I mean, he paid his dues, and he got, for sure, certified classics. If you ask me, I'm going to say it, and I will always stand on this. Nothing Was the Same is his best album. Take Care is the album that's his most, like, I guess, popular, that put him on the map, and what's most recognized is, like, his first classic, but Nothing Was the Same, I think, is his entire, like, top to bottom best album. And I seen the interview that he said that was his favorite album to make, that he's most proud of, so I feel like he knows that as well, but for sure I would say that Nothing Was the Same is his best album. But, he definitely had classic albums, classic runs. I'm going to say it, More Life is trash to me. Like, that shit is ass. I'm sorry, it's mid. Like, it sounds extremely dated. That shit just wasn't it. I feel like that's where he kind of started to get away from making albums, and he was just making, like, a whole bunch of music to, like, please people, which I feel like that could be something that people might want to knock him for, but I give him the credit for at least putting the work in to get to this point where you could have the luxury to do that. So I ain't mad at him being on here at all. I mean, shit, I remember when I first found out about him, I think it was like Man of the Year or like I'm So Fly or some shit. And I was like, damn, like, this shit low key hard. We used to listen to him all the time, like freshman year of high school. And it's crazy seeing how far he's came, and like he ain't really get the respect and love as being a rapper. You know what I'm saying? And then eventually getting that, and then getting to like superstar icon status level. So, as a fan, it's like, that's dope to see. And then, I have my conflicts about, now what kind of albums. I will say though, Her Lost, that is the shit. I need to get a vinyl of that because that album is the shit. Um, Certified Lover Boy was cool. I'm not mad at that one. But I feel like, now he's at a place where he's not necessarily making an album because of what he wants to make versus he's just making it to like please a different type of fans that he has. So it's a good and a bad thing, but at that point you can do what you want to do. So it's respect on this end. At number 7, I got Lil Wayne. Man, I'm gonna be honest, even though he's ranked at 7 and that's relatively high, I feel like he's kind of underrated because we know him, or most people know him for like when he was like the hottest popping rapper. You know what I'm saying? As Wayne in the 2000s, but in the totality and kind of like remembering at that point how the mixtapes was going crazy and the work ethic and the drive to be dropping classic mixtapes in between classic albums. I don't know who else has done that, but I don't think we ever seen something like that in recent history. So Wayne got my respect 1,000% because I remember I was outside when that shit was coming out. And we was listening to him and he was around. And I say we, I mean just like culture wise, he was around, you know what I'm saying, since he was like 15. So I remember he was like a feature with like Hot Boys and all that, Cash Money. And then for him to, do his own thing, make his own sound. And I remember like Carter 2 and I was really like starting to hear him to where I knew of him, but like I was starting to hear him more. And then obviously on Soldier with Destiny's Child, I was like, that was my favorite verse by him at the time. So it's just crazy like looking back to like, Young Weezy and then obviously Carter 2 and then Carter 3. And then how big Carter 3 was for everything. I think I was in middle school when that shit came out. Undeniable classic. Yeah, Wayne has put his time in. He's done a lot of shit. I remember actually Carter 4 came out when I was a freshman in high school. And man, I was bumping that album religiously. Like Wayne was my favorite rapper at that time for a minute. And people wasn't really feeling Carter 4 because I think Sorry for the Way 2 it came out. Or no, that might have been Sorry for the Way 1. But it had came out before the album, and then I remember listening to Carter 4, and I still bump that to this day. So, Wayne got a lot of good shit. Delivery is everything, because if a lot of other rappers probably said some of the shit that he said, they would think they was trash for it, but the delivery got it off. So, Wayne, I hope he's getting his flowers. Seems like he is, for him being influential just by himself, and then putting on, obviously, for Nicki Minaj and Drake and whatnot. So, shout out Wayne. At number 6, they got Biggie. Now, Biggie being on here is fine, but I don't think he should be in the top, just under the top 5. Only because I feel like it's unfair to people that have crazy longevity. Like, lyrically, you can say Biggie's better than, like, a lot. Yeah, he's, like, lyrically top 5, but, I mean, he just didn't have the career because he passed away too early. I mean, he probably would have been the fucking GOAT, or, like, arguably in the GOAT if he was still alive or lived longer, but I mean, when he was alive, he only had 2 albums, and shit, they're classics, so he was on the GOAT trajectory, but he just don't have the longevity. It's like, it's unfair for me to say, alright, well, Biggie should be over like LL Cool J because he was better lyrically when LL Cool J has longevity, or Busta or Nah, or like whoever, Jay-Z or whoever that has like crazy longevity. It's unfair just put that over that. So, I mean, Biggie definitely was somebody who, especially on Life After Death, like he was spitting some crazy shit on there. Everybody knows the line that's extremely out of pocket. I ain't gonna lie, that line is enough to knock him down a few spots. So I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't gonna say the line, but everybody knows what that questionable line is. He got a few of those. I'm knocking him for that line, but outside of that, all jokes aside, like I said, his lyrical standpoint and whatnot, he got hits, club bangers, album cuts, he got all that. I fucks with, except for that line, I fucks with a lot of what Biggie got going on. I don't get behind the whole you can only like Tupac, you can't like Biggie, like fuck all that shit. Like I fucks with Pac, I fuck with Pac more, but fucks with Pac and I fucks with Biggie. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate too, it's like on like Hypnotizer example. But it's like he's rapping simple, but doesn't feel simple, doesn't feel gimmicky. You know what I'm saying? I put Jose NY onto DKNY. Miami DC prefer Versace. All Philly hoes go with Moschino. Every cutie with a booty bought a cootie. Like, it's simple, but it should just work. Delivery, whatever, all that, it just works. So, respect to Biggie, but I don't think he should be this high. Alright, next up, at number 5, they got Eminem. Eminem ain't in my top 5. I don't think he should be this high. Now, I know because of the influence and rapping and popularity, that's why he's this high, and I get it. And I ain't gonna deny like ain't none of that is true. That is all definitely true. Eminem is very influential, or he was very influential. Definitely was extremely popular and created like a whole little section and whatnot. But and lyrically, everybody knows like he's fucking crazy. But I don't think I can have him this high just off. It's not really a time and place for me to listen to an Eminem song. Like I'm not out somewhere. I'm not in the car really like that to where I'm like, you know what? I'm riding around. Put the Eminem like it's just it's not really a place for me to want to listen to him. And he got songs that I fuck with. Like I ain't gonna lie, Relapse that actually was a really dope fucking album. And Recovery was really dope too. But it's like I got certain songs, but I definitely can't go through like a whole album in one sitting or nothing like that. I can just like certain songs here and there. Like if they play, I won't skip them. But I'm probably not gonna go out of my way to just like, hey, put that shit on. So that's just me personally. I mean, I'm sure there's fans are like, bro, like fuck all that. Like, I'm personally, it's not really getting play in my car like that. I respect the legacy, and I for sure like give him his credit for being around. I don't think I would have him this high. He could be on for sure on this list, but I don't think I would have Eminem anywhere near the top 5. That's just me personally. Number 4 is Tupac, and to be honest, I fucks with this because Tupac is somebody that is still very influential. I mean, he wasn't. I will say this. This might be a hot take though. I don't think Tupac was an icon when he was alive. I think he was a legend when he was alive, but he didn't become an icon until after he died. Because an icon is something that takes longevity. I'm gonna do a video about this too, about the difference between an icon and a legend, because I feel like people kind of throw the word icon around when not everybody could be an icon. He became one after he died, but when he was alive, he was for sure a legend. But no question, Pac is definitely like one of the most influential rappers ever. Got everything to go with it and back it up. And Pac get played damn near every day, if not every day. In the whip, he got classics, All Eyes on Me. Like I have to vinyl that shit. Like Pac's run, he wasn't even really. His run was only like 6 or 7 years, which honestly is not a long time. But he got a lot of shit done and a lot of songs done in that time. Somebody else who was working extremely hard. I mean, he did 2 albums in 1 year. So, man, Pac's influence and Pac what he stood for, what he was rapping on. It would have been scary for him to have longevity because it's like he would have got he knew how to get people together. When people throw around the word like aura or whatever, like he had that shit. But he knew how to rally people together. He knew how to get people motivated, to get people in the right spot. So even though he has, songs about other shit, but it's hard to listen to a Pac song and not get hyped or whatever the case may be. So I'll fucks with Pac being in the top 5. All right, at number 3, we got Nas. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I would argue that he could be number 1. Just because lyricism, longevity, and to be honest, probably one of the biggest things is influence. I mean, he said himself, name a rapper I ain't influenced. Like, he's influenced a lot of people. I mean, Kanye is definitely like one of the biggest ones. And you see how influential Kanye is. And it's like the early Kanye that we know, or that a lot of us know, we wouldn't have that if it wasn't for him, for Nas, with, not even including a lot of other people. So, I would definitely say if Rakim is like the grandfather or the godfather, Nas is the chosen, the son, prodigal son, or the chosen one or whatever. I feel like he just took what Rakim did and he just did it different in like a better way. And I think Nas has enough to have an argument to be number 1. I mean, he got undeniable classics, solid albums, and on top of that, his resurgence, with Hit Boy and him doing 6 albums in like 3-4 years, and they getting better with the King's Disease and Magic series. I'm like, dog, rappers ain't supposed to be doing this, which I kind of want to call bullshit on Andre 3000 saying, oh, I don't want to be rapping at 40 because there's nothing to rap about. Like, nah, bro. Because Nas got shit. If Nas rapping, there's other rappers. Jay-Z still rapping. So, I'm calling bullshit on that. But, to be honest, like I said, Nas' resume speaks for itself. Still very relevant now. It doesn't feel like, why are you rapping? Like, stop. You know what I mean? Like Fabulous is like almost in that category of like, all right, bro, like we get it, but you might low key need to chill out because he's a little, he's still relevant, but it's not really the same. And I feel like Nas kind of avoided that by still just being who he is. So he definitely deserves to be in the top three. Number two is Kendrick Lamar. I would argue that Kendrick and Nas should probably switch if for some reason Nas would be number one. Because Kendrick, very influential, legendary, and he kind of took some inspiration from like Three Stacks and, made it his own kind of thing. And man, I remember K-Dot when he was like first blowing up and people was telling me about him. And then, saying him, Good Kid, Mad City being the classic that it is. And I'm sorry, but Damn is not a classic. I will argue anybody that Damn is not a classic. It's a great album, it's a solid album, but it's not a classic album. His Kendrick's classics are Good Kid, Mad City, and To Pimp a Butterfly. Those are his classics. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is a solid album. I don't think it's better than Damn, but it definitely got some stuff on there that I resonated with for sure. Outside of that, like Kendrick's, his lyricism and his body of work is second to none. And I appreciate the fact that he's kind of changing from just being, he kind of started doing it with, I guess, Damn, but kind of getting away from just being in the box of being a rapper specifically and being an artist, and performer. And I'm like, you know what? I appreciate that because, it's something that's easy to get stuck in that rapper box. And then, it's hard. I'm like, you got songs with Maroon 5 and like random ass people, but it's like you kind of taking it to a different avenue, you know what I'm saying? So I respect that. So, Kendrick's definitely, one of the best of our generation, the whole Kendrick Cole and Drake thing. Kendrick's definitely one of the best of the generation. I don't think he has enough classics to be the GOAT, so I would switch him and Nas if Nas wasn't number one. But no doubt Kendrick is in that top five. And I would like to see if he can make another classic album. I think that would be enough to start giving him better arguments to move up. And finally, Billboard has the number one greatest rapper of all time, Jay-Z. Now, I get why he's top three. I don't think I would put him number one. In a way, I feel like he's kind of like a Magic Johnson type, where his actual lyricism is underrated, but because we know he's so successful as a businessman, it makes him a little bit over. It's like Magic. Like Magic's game is kind of underrated because he didn't really play that long, which is not comparing Jay-Z's because obviously he has more longevity, but Magic didn't really play that long, but his game style is his game is underrated, but because of like the hype, and then obviously he was successful as a businessman in a lot of different ventures, it makes him like a little bit overrated. So I feel like Jay-Z kind of has that where his business and like, when you think of Jay-Z, what you think of him for is what makes him slightly overrated. But the actual rap and skills, it makes him a little underrated because he's pretty elite with the pen, with the slick talk, lyricism. He got classics. He got, like 20 something Grammys. Like he has longevity as well, which is why I say I feel like he has some underratedness in him. But I don't think I could say he's the GOAT off of that. I think he has longevity, but he has longevity. He has the stuff that could put him in that tier. But I don't think I would put him in there because if you're doing strictly rap, I think Nas has a very slight edge over it. Obviously, he has more, success in a lot of different avenues. And probably, he has more Grammys and whatnot too. So, it's definitely an argument, but that's just me. It's hard to go back and forth with those two because those two are in my, top five favorite, but yeah, I'm not mad at Jay-Z being in the top three, but in my opinion, I don't think he should be number one. I get him being there because of his influence and putting people on and whatnot. And maybe it's enough to put him there, but I don't know necessarily if I would have him number one. If I have him maybe the top three are arguable, but I'm rocking with it. So that's the 50 of them. That's the 50 of the list. If it's anybody you think should be an honorable mention, or should be on the list, or shouldn't be on the list, leave a comment. Let me know who it is. Leave a comment. Let me know, and let's see.